Marauders just hit an all-time low of only 183 concurrent players, and while this doesn't mean the game is dead, it certainly means that it is struggling to maintain its foothold in the market. So, what is going wrong? To understand this issue, we need a little context. Marauders released in early access near the end of 2022, and as of the recording of this video, it's still in that state. Now, this is nothing new, especially for this style of game. Tarkov is an example of this, having become playable in 2017. Speaking of that, in terms of gameplay, Escape from Tarkov was something completely unseen before in gaming. It was without a doubt the most realistic PvP first-person shooter ever released, a title which I believe it still holds. Beyond this, though, the core gameplay loop was captivating, as there was just as much to do out of first-person gameplay as there was in. Base building, contracts, trading, as well as RPG elements tied to your specific character. When your character becomes injured, you can play a scav, which is honestly an ingenious mechanic to get people familiar with playing the game in a lower-stakes way. Marauders shares some of these characteristics, but flops in many of the most crucial areas. This might sound harsh, but aside from the ship combat and the setting, Marauders offers nothing unique and has downright bad moment-to-moment gameplay. The gunplay, for example, is very lackluster, with many describing it as Tarkov light. While this isn't necessarily a bad thing, I don't think anyone is playing the game for the feel of the weapons. One of the biggest issues discussed in the community is an issue with the questing system. Quests are a great idea in a game with a large enough player base, but the problem with a game like Marauders is that, since it's a niche game, they have to add randomness to keep the game interesting. However, this means that the spawn rates of certain things required for quests can be around 5%. This leads to players spawning in, quickly checking if they have the right map or if a certain ship is there, and then disconnecting. This is a very boring gameplay loop. Another issue that people talk about frequently on the subreddit is incentives and loot value. Tarkov shines because of its huge loot diversity and loot types and value. The maps are packed with potential loot. For example, if you load into a map, you might find that a key card you were looking for didn't spawn or was already looted. No problem. There's plenty of other stuff to do around the map and loot to find. In Marauders, however, you really only have one or two things to do in a game. You can kill players or go for a vault or some other valuable area. If you go for a vault, you'll probably come out with a couple of high-tier weapons and valuables, but as this user says, guns in this game feel very unpolished. I found all sorts of high-tier weapons, but upon using them, I can't really say I liked any of them compared to Uzi or Mat 49. Looting a vault and finding a bar feels like meh. I already have two stashed that I'll probably never use again, so this one gets sold anyway. High value loot like war bonds and coins are not exciting, as you find multiple of them every single raid, and all you can do is sell them for more money, which you have more than enough of. So the excitement of looting quickly dies away as you find out all you can do with this stuff is sell it. Simply put, it's just not exciting enough to find stuff in this game yet. Another user says, I wish there was more bringing people together so you'd actually collide and have to fight some more. You can make a lot of money just doing quests or playing defensively. Hunt Showdown does this pretty well since it forces everyone to the bounty. A final user says, I was able to master Marauders in a fraction of the time. Nothing is exciting to find except the merchant ship or the capital ship and a handful of quest items like the gold bullion. I'm not excited to see level 9 or 10 gear, and I don't think it's because I lack gear fear. It's because the gear just isn't exciting. I'm more excited to see a commando bag than level 10 armor. Another issue seems to be a bunch of little things here and there, so here's a quick list of those things. The movement is very clunky. Hitboxes of items in the game, such as railings, NPCs being amazing marksmen from half the map away, not being able to distinguish verticality in audio, space combat feeling underwhelming or one-sided, quests being grueling and unrewarding, bad inventory management, clunky weapon animations, space portions of the game being mostly pointless, the crafting system being bland. It has become clear that the community is largely frustrated with the game, and while fun can certainly be had, especially when first starting out the game, it simply just gets boring too fast. The developers seem to be focused on putting out more content rather than what people actually want, which is meaningful content. Before adding new things to the game, they should focus on fixing the core gameplay loops, bugs, and overall feel of the game. The devs had a long period where they weren't communicating with the community, but in November last year, they announced they were restructuring some things, whatever that means, and releasing the Guilds update. It's actually added a lot to the game, making it possible to create and join guilds, which give you access to their base and trading. It also added a new map, a main menu rework, trader reworks, a new gun, and some AI adjustments. Of course, this caused the player base to spike. It sounds very impressive and adds a lot to the game, but again, it isn't the content that people need or will keep people engaged at the time. Another map just makes it harder to randomly get placed in the map that you actually need. Guilds are nice, but when the core gameplay doesn't keep people hooked for the long run, it doesn't matter. Trading reworks are good, one new gun just isn't enough, and AI adjustment are also good, but that was it. They saw a pretty big initial spike in the player count, but within a month it has fallen to a new low. Now, I played Marauders, but as with many others, it didn't hook me. I did about half the quests and got most of the best gear, but after that I got bored. So what can they do to hook people and keep them engaged? To me, the answer is that they just need more. The game feels like it has a fraction of the content of Tarkov or Hunt Showdown. It feels like a demo of a game that might be great someday, but for now is just too small. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments why you stopped playing and what you think they should do to keep people playing.